أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا كريم. Oh Allah, help us learn what is beneficial to us and help us benefit from what you have enabled us to learn and increase us in knowledge. Ameen. Ameen ya Rabb. Quick reminder again, our kids are our amana and Allah entrusted us with them. Please, um, we need to change this whole feeling and idea that kids, they are our own and we own them and they have to do all what we need and fulfill our dreams. Let's keep our egos aside, our desires. Of course, we will teach them. We want them to be the best. But again, we have to take their personality, their perspective in consideration. And that's going to be the focus of our session today, the main focus of our session actually today, and also part of next time. But this is the general essence of what we're doing, is to respect the person, to respect who they are and respect the differences that they have. Okay. And with that, I will also remind you about seeking ilm that Allah facilitated for us to have is great and amazing, but above all, it is the dua that makes the difference, right? We need to make sincere dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah put barakah into all your efforts and in your work. May Allah give you sabr and patience so that you can navigate this journey with patience and love and nurturing. Ameen ya Rabb. Okay. And with that, let's see where we are. So we finished 1, 2, and we're working in item number 3. So we finished understanding ourselves. Session 1. Session 2 was about understanding certain things about our kids, their temperament traits, their needs, and how their brain or brain science works. And the other 4 sessions are the 6 S's that we talked about, which are the ones that nurture social, emotional, or well-being. And at the same time, these are the ones that develop the secure attachment and the positive relationship with our kids. Last time, we spoke about feeling safe and what does it mean to be safe and how we as parents can make our kids feel safe with us, right? Today, inshallah, we're going to be discussing the second S, inshallah, which is the scene, okay? And before I jump into that, we need to remember that the whole essence of building attachment and positive relationship lies in 2 words. If we get the essence of these 2 words, you don't need any of these lectures, right? Because if we're able to understand what do they really mean, then khalas, you got it, like they say. And those 2 words are attunement, sensitive attunement, and responsiveness, right? Sensitive attunement meaning to be able to recognize the internal environment of our kids and at the same time empathize. Recognize and empathize. And for us to recognize this internal environment, we need to be able to perceive where they're coming from, to understand their perspective, not ours, right? So when a kid, a 5, 6 years old kid is, or 4, 5, 6, whatever, is upset or sad because of a broken toy, okay, and he's sad or mad or crying or very emotional about it, right? I need to understand his perspective. I need to understand his feeling. I need to understand his need. I need to understand the way he thinks, his desire, right? How strong this to him, not to me, because to me as an adult, I will be judgmental. It's like, oh, it's just a toy, so what, right? So our inability to put ourselves in our kids' shoes and feel their feelings and see their internal environment really stops us at the level of the behavior. we're always just seeing the behavior. We're always seeing what they're doing. And if we don't like it, because sometimes there is misbehavior and we should correct it, I'm not saying no. But the thing is, there's a huge difference between correcting a behavior and I'm attuned, I understand where this little kiddo is coming from, right? And between just, following rules and regulations rigidly, without the empathy, without the acknowledgement, without the validation, right? Which comes in the word, the other word, second word is responsiveness. What is responsiveness? Is after I understand my kid's feelings, needs, where he's coming from, his brain, how he's thinking about this toy that got broken. Now I have to behave in such a way that is responsive to that. Responsive does not mean permissive, does not mean, okay, tell him, yeah, it's okay, you can scream, you can, no. Responsive is basically to be able to validate the feeling, validate those feelings, right? And I didn't say behavior, I'm saying feelings. Validate feelings, and then I should act effectively based on the situation. Effectively means in the right way, in a positive way, not in a negative way, right? And in a way that teach this kid skills. So I need to set limits and I need to teach skills in a positive way. That is being responsive. That's if there's a misbehavior. But generally speaking, there are so many different situations that we're going to give today. Today, inshallah, I'm going to give a lot of examples about how sometimes unattuned we are. And let me just say something else. Like, this is not only for kids. Kids suffer mostly because of that. But this is not, we do this with even adults, and we will know how. Like with our spouses, with our friends, with our co-workers, right? We are to a great deal missing the attunement, missing feeling the feelings of others, the needs of others, right? And again, I'm not saying, oh, they should, you should just grant them what they want. That's not what I mean. I mean, just be empathetic to that person. If you can understand where they're coming from, believe me, the way you will respond is going to be so much different, right? So, for example, let's say your 8-9 years old child lied to you about praying, which is a very common example. Like if I tell you the number of complaints that I receive about, kiddos making so many different mistakes and sometimes lying about several things, salah is one of them, unfortunately, right? Okay, so this child is saying, okay, no, I prayed. Did you make wudu? Yes, I made wudu. Khalas, everything's fine. Or about doing his math homework, for example, right? But let's take the salah as an example to apply to it. If we are attuned to this child, if I am attuned and I see my child is lying and saying that he prayed, then the thing is, I will stop and think, why is he saying that? How does he feel about it? My brain is going to take me to a totally different place that explores, maybe he feels bored about it. Maybe he feels like, he doesn't understand why we really pray. Maybe he needs more information. Maybe the environment that we create around salah is so negative that he hates it now, or he doesn't like it because dad is always yelling and mom is always nagging, right? So the fact that I'm attuned, the fact that I'm trying to understand his feelings, maybe simply he feel bored, right? A little kid doesn't understand why we're doing that, and it's like boring, like just doing movements, right? So if I am able to attune to that and understand that, right, I can be responsive now. How to be responsive? Okay, I will validate the feeling. So if he's, I can tell him, yeah, I know, I understand that you don't know, the value of praying. You don't fully get it, but we can read about that. We can know about that. We can listen to stories about that. If you feel bored, I understand, right? We can make it more, we can do something before it, or we can make prayer time more encouraging, right? I see a lot of people, because they're so worried about prayer, they make it so stressful to the kids, right? Anything that's religious in general, because of the fears, which I'm gonna like hit on next. What happens is we lose attunement, right, with our kids. And the thing is, now if I'm attuned and I know why they're doing that, I will be all about, why is that? Maybe he doesn't get it. Maybe he needs to learn about it. Maybe I need to do something fun. Maybe I need to have a special corner and do something like the kids will, it's going to be appealing until, and maybe I need to nurture Iman more. Maybe I need to talk to him about the fadl of Salah. Maybe he need to see more videos about that. Now my brain is attuned to the child, right? Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to solve the problem. Okay, so not that I'm not going to talk about the lying part, but only talking about the lying part, we're missing the point. We're not solving the problem. Okay, so we can, after we do that and say, I understand, or sometimes we can let go if it's a one time, if we fix the problem. But if it's something continuous, then I need to know how to handle lying in a responsive way. Even when kids, not even, especially when kids make mistakes, that is the most important time when we need to attune and be responsive, not be judgmental. But what happened to us as parents? Let me tell you, what do we do? Rather than being attuned to our kids and trying to understand where they're coming, where their little brain coming from, their ability, what can they get and what they cannot get, right? The real reason maybe why this is not, like they lie about it or they don't want to do it, rather than focusing on this and solving the problem, what happens is we are driven by our own internal environment, which makes sense, right? We have an archive. Remember, we talked about that. So we have our own fears. We have our own predictions. We have our own conditioning. We have our own, right? So rather than thinking about the kid, what we do is our fears, like some people like, and I literally hear that like dozens of times. It's like, if he doesn't pray, then I'm afraid he's gonna not be turn out not to be a Muslim, or he will be like not a good believer. This is a sin. I was okay, I understand, but don't let that, if anything, let it guide you to solve the problem. But what we do is, because we're so afraid, we ourselves get triggered by our own fears and by our own expectations and by our own conditioning, that rather than we solve the problem, what do? We start calling names. You're lazy, you're manipulative, you're such a liar, you are just trying to give me a hard time, or you maybe he's a bad boy, kids should listen to parents, or he's going to be a bad Muslim, if a Muslim at all. Our brain takes us places, right, that are totally unattuned with our kids. Okay, it takes us to places like the place of fear, the place of anxiety, the place of what's going to happen, right? Which makes us so judgmental, makes us so harsh sometimes, that what happens is, when we respond in this way, because we're not attuned to them, we're just driven by our own fears, by our own internal environment. What happens is, we rather than being responsive, we resort to yelling or spanking or calling names or any of the punitive techniques that we talked about last time, right? So we resort to that, shaming them and even making the whole environment about Salah even worse. So I end up not teaching the kid anything, right? Actually, it's becoming worse. I didn't teach any skills, right? And they end up hating Salah more. And at the same time, I lose my connection and relationship with the kid. So I lost it just because I wasn't able to attune and understand. So how do I do that? In order for us to do that, what we need to do is we need to separate, we need to have what Dr. Daniel Siegel called a mindset. We need to be able to understand our own selves, right? We talked about our attachment and our styles and this and that. We want to do more. We want to know our triggers, right? Uh, um, when I start yelling, why am I yelling? He's a kid, he's in training, he made a mistake. Yes, absolutely, I need to go and help him and correct him and maybe even put a consequence of or whatever. Fine, all of that is fine if we do it in a responsive way. That's the key. But when we change into the punitive techniques, that is because we are driven by our own fears rather than attuning to the child. So what do we need to do? We need to start gaining awareness. We need to be more conscious about how our brain works, because it takes over. And rather than doing the right thing, what we do is we then start to be either punitive, harsh, yelling, screaming, name calling, criticizing, shaming, blaming, you name it. Or some people actually take the flight response. What they do is they ignore. They just close their eyes. They ignore, they ignore, they ignore. And guess what? Even if you ignoring is not a good strategy. That's not responsiveness, right? Ignoring is basically another reaction that we take because, we don't want to be confrontational, or we don't know what to do, or it's khalas, when he grow up, he will know it himself. It's like you were not teaching again. We're not doing them a favor. We're not teaching them anything. So what I'm saying, or what Dr. Daniel Siegel is saying, is that we need to have this mindset. We need to understand our motives, our fears, our triggers, and separate them. When I see the fear coming and my reaction is I want to yell at the kid because he lied about praying, or because he didn't pray, or he said he made wudu and he didn't, rather than just going and yelling, how did you do that? You're such a liar. What did you do that? All of that. I need to take a deep breath, right? And say, okay, just calm down. This does not mean that he's going to be a kafir, walayadu billah. This does not mean that he's a bad boy. This does not mean, it just means that he's struggling with something and his little brain cannot figure it out. And this was his escape, right? So I need to figure out that. I need to attune to why he's doing it. I need to figure out a positive way to respond to that. I need to teach him the right way. This is the only way that these things can work. And that's why I'm saying we can sit and talk all what we want about, different tactics and different strategies. If you're able to understand those few words that I said about attunement and responsiveness, you got it. Attune and respond, and be careful with your own baggage. Be careful with your own, have this mindset to say, oh yeah, my fears. Let me use these fears rather than to like penalize my kid. Let me use it to teach him something, to transform your fear, transform it into something positive. Okay, rather than something negative. I don't want my kids, of course, all of us, we're worried our kids will lose the way. We're worried this and that. Okay, fine. But if I stop here without being cognizant of those drives, I will be very harsh and punitive. I will be very minded by actions. But if I said, oh yeah, I know, I'm triggered. Let me take a deep breath. Let me think about the best way to handle this. Okay, let's figure it out. Why is the kid doing that? Did I participate in that? Or maybe I didn't, but he has his own feelings. He has his own desires, right? Why would an 8-year-old kid leave a game to do rituals that were never explained to him in a positive way, was never encouraged like to pray, doesn't understand like the whole meaning of prayer and this and that. And I didn't do much effort to make it more encouraging and more nurturing and more appealing, right? I didn't maybe nurture the iman first, because just focusing on rituals without focusing on the heart will not breed kids who are strong believers, right? So that kind of way makes us shift the way we think about things into a more positive thing. So attunement and responsiveness, these are the two words that we want to focus on. Now, because these are very broad and sometimes they're not really easy to grasp, you know, many schools of thought try to put them in different words or use different items or categorize them. And that's why we came up with the 6 S's, which are from different, you know, from different, as I mentioned before, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Dr. Gabor Mate, Dr. Shefali, this, you know, they would put names for this, trying to make it more practical, try to make it more, distinct and practical. So it's easier for people to implement, right? And these 6 S's, as I said before, these are the S's that are basic social emotional needs. So kids need them to thrive, to develop like mentally healthy. And at the same time, these are the things that if we do, not only like we will have like secure attachment with our kids and a positive relationship with them as well. Okay. Now there will be overlap. I know now today, seen and soothed are so overlapped. I try to make the distinction so that we can, again, so we can, in our mind, we can say, oh, I'm doing soothing, I'm doing seeing, but they are overlapping. Also successful and significant, they are very overlapped as well. But, and generally the 6 S's, all of them are overlapped because they all focus on the same concept, attunement and response. Okay? So, with that being said, let's start with our second S, okay? And our second S is seen, or in some other classifications or some books, it's wrote as known, okay? So what is seen or known? What does it really mean? It means that basically what I just said, like kids need to be seen, okay, from the inside out. We need to see the inside, and we also need to see the outside, the behavior and what does it imply. And we also need to show them that we see them. They need to know that we see them. Okay. I still remember this mom who told me that one of her kiddos told her, Mom, do you have cameras installed in our head? How come you know how we think and how we feel and what we want? How do you do that? Right? The camera is not in a bad way, okay? It's in a positive way, not as like she's just spying on them. So what I'm saying is kids need to be seen from the inside. Oh, I know my son is going through this. At this point, he doesn't need to talk. Maybe he needs some space. And I can go and say, are you okay? And if they tell me I don't want to talk, fine, okay, I'm here for you whenever you're ready. If they're not ready, it's okay, right? You need to be attuned. You need to know your kids, okay? Internally and externally, okay? But not only that, the kids need to feel, that's a need, seen, loved, accepted, okay? Just for themselves, not because they achieved something that you love or like, or they achieved your dreams or any of that, for who they are, okay? So we need to let them know that we care about them, that we pay attention to them. So not only we need to see and know, which is the attunement, but we need to show them that. Kids need to see actions that we do, words that we say, that tells them that we see them. So seeing, attunement only is not enough, right? We need to be responsible. We need to show them that. We need to, yeah, I see you. Okay, I will help you. So they need to know that we accept them for who they are. And this does not mean that if they make mistakes, then accept. No, I mean, you will teach them, right? But you will teach them responsively. And believe it or not, Kids understand. Like if you understand them and talk to them that I understand you made a mistake. We need to work on that. How are we going to fix it? What ways? What kind of rules are we going to set? What kind of limits are we going to put? This will be, they're not going to like it as in like it, but they still feel seen and safe, right? The overlap. So responding effectively is actually, one of the ways. So for example, I said today I'm going to give a lot of examples. So for example, calling your kid lazy because let's say he's not memorizing the Quran. Okay. You want him to memorize the Quran, of course, check the ability, how much, what's the amount, and this and that. But he came as like, Mama, I don't want to memorize and this and that. Again, when our kids say that, and I know I'm a mom too, when they say something like that, or when your daughter comes and say, I'm going to take off the hijab, or when your kid come and say, I don't understand, why are we praying? Or these are scary moments in our life, right? And really, it can really be triggering. But the thing is, if we're able to just take a deep breath and take a step back and just start being attuned to them, why are they doing that? What are they going through? What influences? What is it that made them say that or think this way? If you're able to do that, believe me, you're going to help them tremendously. Okay. So again, are you an attuned parent? Are you only driven by your own archive, by your own fear, by your own triggers? That is the question. That is the thing that we really need to explore. Okay. Uh, so again, we said that influence of our brain kind of hinders our ability to do the right thing. There's another trap that I need to present to you as well, that I see happening like a lot, subhanallah, which is the not accepting your kids for who they are. And I know some parents will not be very happy with this, but listen what I mean first. It doesn't like, it doesn't actually mean what it sounds like. So basically, when I say we need to accept them for who they are, I'm not talking about not teaching skills. I'm not talking about not teaching values. I'm not talking about not teaching deen and religion. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that you have your own desires and your own ego and your own dream for your own son or daughter. For example, career choice. For me to see my kid as successful, he has to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or whatever, an athlete of a certain like caliber, whatever. Everyone has their own, dreams and conditioning and set of rules, and correct. So the thing is, we always try to fit our kids into for like our desire, our dream, and that's regardless of how the kid feels about that dream. Is it his dream or is it just your dream? Does he even like it? I know a lot of parents who just, I want a doctor in the family. I want an engineer in the family. I want my son to be like me. If I'm having business, I want him to, for example, take over and lead my business. And the kid is saying, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to do something else. And parents get really frustrated because they cannot accept their kids for who they are. Like, and I'm not saying, oh yeah, let him fail. No, I'm saying if he likes, for example, if you want him to be a doctor, but he likes to be an engineer, or he likes to be a lawyer, or he likes to have his own business, or whatever, as long as he's doing the right steps and he's successful and he's happy and he's flourishing, why not? Why do we get stuck in that? that's because of our archive. That's because of our mind. We're driven by our own desires, and we're not seeing our kids. And that creates a lot of problems because the kids they always feel like they don't see me. They only see themselves. And that's a complaint that we get a lot from kids. They don't understand me. They don't care about what I want or what I don't want. And I'm not, again, let me clarify, I'm not talking about, oh, let them be, not do anything, let them just not continue, let them, be like not working or being lazy or, any of that. I'm not talking about any of that. We're still gonna teach them. And if you feel your kid actually is capable of doing this, something, and you see he has the ability, it's okay to influence, but not to force. There's a difference. Like you can tell him, I see this strength in you, and I see this and this and this and this. What about if you check the career options? I think this would be good for you. But if he said, no, I don't feel it, or I have other options, okay, fine. Consider that with him or her, right? Be supportive. So this is that. And again, that is one of the traps that we fall in because we do not see our kids. Okay, we only see ourselves. And also, don't get me wrong, I don't mean that we're selfish. I mean, we can be in a way, but what I'm saying, it's out of good intention. We want the best for our kids. We want them to be the best people, the most successful, the best in everything. And because of that, we're choosing for them what we think is right. But sometimes it's not the right choice. If they don't like it, if they don't feel it, and sometimes I see people who don't have the ability even to achieve it. Like, wallahi, subhanallah, I see kids like, they don't like certain jobs or certain careers. And not only that, but you can tell it's not their interest. Sometimes it's even not their ability, but parents are just pushing them wild to achieve it. Like, do it. And they're breaking the kids. And we end up with what? Like everyone fails and the relationship is destroyed. And it's all because we cannot see them. Okay. So I guess seeing is kind of clear to a point now. Now, I said we have to see them inside and out, correct? How can we see the inner world? The inner world can be seen through what I said, attuning to their feelings, needs, thoughts, memories, desires, likes, dislikes, strength, all of that. And then validate and be responsive, correct? To attune in, we need to see them and we show them that we see them. You have to show them. And that is by the validation. I'm not going to go into validation in details because the other S, the soothed, which is the next S, will focus mainly on how to validate feelings, right? How to do that and how to respond to feelings positively. So I don't want to, spend a lot of time on that. And that's the overlap. That's one of the overlaps between these two S's. So I will talk about it more into enthused. Let's now focus on how to make them feel seen from the outside. How can we see the outside? As Dr. Gabor Mate and Gordon Neufeld said, be in their face and space in a good way. Be in their face and space. Be around them. Be there for them. They see you throughout the day. They talk to you. They this and that. Not in a bad way, not in an intrusive way, not in a spying way, not in a nagging way, not in a don't way. That's not a good way, right? So how do we do that? So the thing is, for us to do that, we need to ask the $1 million question. If we want to see them externally or show them that we love them and show them that we care and show them that we're attuned and show them all of that, how do we do that? People will, this whole quality versus quantity question. Is it just spending a lot of time with them? Or is it just maybe spending very little time, but it's quality time? Which one will work better, or which one is what we need? The short answer for that is we need quality time in the right quantity. We need both. You cannot, because you cannot, if the quantity is very little, no matter how the quality is good, it's not gonna, it's not gonna work. And if the quantity is a lot, like I'm there all the time, I'm there, but rather than nurturing and giving quality time, I'm nagging and bossing them around and yelling at them and using all these techniques, then there's no point. So we have to combine quantity and quality, but it has to be tailored to the kid's age and need. Let me just say something very important. The younger the kids are, quantity is really important. The amount of time is really important. And as we know, like parenting, like psychologists and experts would always advise that, especially the first few years of life, and especially the first 3 years of life, where the attachment is developed, and a lot of the, a lot of concepts and morality, there's a lot of things that happen in the first few years, subhanallah, and we think kids don't understand. Yes, they cognitively don't understand a lot, but this is the time. This is the time when their brain becomes wired for what we're doing. It's wiring. So they might not tell you, oh, mama, I see this and that, and they won't. They don't even have the vocabulary, but their brain is being wired. So that's why these years are critical. So especially first few years, but 3, and I would say up 4, 5-ish, quantity of time, of course, in addition to quality, don't get me wrong, is critical. And they need a lot of it. They need a lot of time, not just short times and quality. That will happen later when they're older, because it's natural. When kids grow older, they go to school, so here half the day goes in school, and then if they have like an activity or something, and then they have homework, and then they eat, right? So already they don't want that presence like for like a lot of time as before, but they still want you in certain quantities, and I will tell you how. But the quality, it makes a huge difference. Okay, I hope it makes sense up until here. Type. So now let's see, what is the right quantity? Like, research found that spending short, frequent time, even few minutes, even if it's few minutes, and of course you can make it hours if you want, but at least, let's put it this way, at least for few minutes throughout the day is better than spending long periods, but they are widely spaced. Like, for example, I know some parents, especially sometimes busy dads, for example, or busy parents, what they do, they're always like running here and there. There's no contact throughout the day, but then every month or so, they will go out for a day. That's great. I mean, keep it, but that is not enough. Okay. So they found that the frequent, several times a day, throughout the day, even for a few seconds, 2 minutes, of course, every time, a few seconds here, few minutes here, maybe 20 minutes here, maybe an hour before bedtime or so, that is great. And this time has to be nurturing time, quality time. Okay, we need to spend quality time. Okay, here we're going to be faced with the first problem. Many parents will tell me, and they tell me, we are so busy, our lives are so busy, and I do empathize with that. And subhanallah, the world, the way the structure of the society and work and income and made this word really crazy busy. And parents are running just to like juggling between like work and putting food on the table and taking care of the house and cleaning and homework and driving them to school and to activities and all of that. There's no extra time. There's no extra time to to sit with the kids and do things, right? So, and I'm talking here about older kids. We said young kids, they need time. You know, sometimes I know some families will just even change the, you know, the way things work when they have little kids, because they really need more time. But I'm talking about older kids who are already in school, and like, you know, they don't need that much time. What are we going to do? We need to do this, the several, like, frequent daily connections. We need to connect with them several times throughout the day, a few minutes, I would say, or some minutes if you can, but a lot, like a lot of those. Tab, now I'm busy. What should I do? Here's the trick. What you can do is change all the time that you spend with your kids into quality time. Because there are certain times that you are already spending with them. You're already doing that. But rather than doing it in a very like boring, or we're not talking, or we're bossing each other around, or we're yelling, or we're nagging, so it's not quality at all. It's just actually annoying time. So let's use these throughout the day and turn them into quality time. Okay, and I will tell you how. Quality time, by the way, doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be going out. Quality time can just be like as easy as just like pat on the shoulder, or hey, how's your day? What did you do today? Or did you know what happened to me today? I ran into this Tammo and he told me this and that, or Khaltu so and so is sending her salams, or this is connection. Okay. Sharing stories, we're going to talk about what to do, by the way, during connection time. So don't worry about that. But the point is, what we need to do is we need to change those times into, rather than automatic random times that we're doing things, like I'm like setting the table for dinner. Okay. Make this time like a time when all of us help each other, and someone will do something, not as a chore, not just the chore part, but while you're doing that, you're joking, you're messing around, you're talking about something, you're sharing a story. Meal times, right? We're already sitting and talking. Now I see people like, you go to any restaurant, go to any place, subhanallah, that's so not going with human like fitra, right? Everyone's on their phone. They're sitting eating dinner and everyone's on their phone. No, remove the screens. Make this quality time. We're already sitting. We're going to eat anyways, right? This is part of what we do, right? So, but before I jump into how to do that, I just want to say something. While I was kind of reflecting on this research results, the whole build like routines of random, they advise parents to build routine of random, frequent, daily connections throughout the day for a few seconds or minutes, and it should be nurturing time. I was reflecting on that and I was like, it came to my mind like, subhanallah, don't you see the similarity between that and our 5 daily prayers, right? Like, what are the 5 daily prayers? Let's look at that. Subhanallah. They're 5 times frequent. They are throughout the day. They're not in one time. It's not like in morning or in the evening. They are spaced throughout the day. So we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 5 times a day or more throughout the day, since we wake up at dawn until we go to bed, like at Taisha time. They are only a few minutes long, right? Just few minutes, subhanallah. And you can make them hours. You can do more. And they offer quality nurturing time. That's when you get this, do your du'as and get your nurture from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this khushu'a, right? They say, like, if you want to perfect your salah, do khushu'a. What's khushu'a? It's the quality. the quality of the salah, not just the quantity, not just doing it, but the khushu'a is the quality. And the more you do, the merrier, the better. We do nawafil, we do sunan. So the more daily frequent connect. And guess what? Salah, according to some of the like scholarly opinions, is coming from the root word sila. In Arabic, mean to connect. Yasil. To connect to someone. So يعني it was kind of like يعني when I reflected on that, I was like, subhanallah, so the best way is, right, to do those frequent throughout the day. So remember that with salah, whenever you salli, you connect with your kids at least 5 times if they need more. So do a lot of nawafil and sunan and stuff like that. Okay, that will strengthen the relationship, that will strengthen the connection with your kids. Okay, طيب, when can we do that? So do it randomly throughout the day and make sure that these connections are like, the great start. What you can do is use already the times that you already interact with the kids, you're with them anyways, and start switching them to like nurturing time, like morning, waking them up. Make it the most amazing time of the day. Bedtime, rather than yalla, go, yeah, nagging, yeah, oh, I can't take it anymore. Why aren't you listening? Just turn it into quality. And I know some people are behind the screen now. I'm just saying, oh, she's dreaming. No, you can do it. If you plan for it, and if you get the kids on board, you can turn these times into the best time, and you're already spending time with them. You don't need to add any more to your schedule. It's already built in, right? Car rides, you're picking them from school, or you're taking them to activity, or you're doing something anyways, you're going to be together. So rather than you're on your phone talking and they're just nagging each other in the back, or they are on their screens, no, that's our time together. Make it connection time. Okay, meal times, you're eating together anyway, make it connection time. What else? The other thing that we need to actually it's critical to do is do connection after any physical or emotional separation. In their great book, Hold On to Your Kids, Dr. Matei and Neufeld, they say that kids need to reconnect after each interruption, whether this interruption is physical because they went to school, or they are studying, or they're watching a movie, or they went to a practice, or they went camping, or they went anywhere. This is a physical separation. So they tell us that we have to reconnect after any physical separation and after any emotional separation. What's an emotional separation? Like what? Like after we have an argument, or after there is tension in the air, go and reconnect. Of course, after you resolve the issue. I'm not saying anything, right? So the recommendation is we need to reconnect after any physical or emotional separation. Re-establish this connection, okay? And use the built-in times that you are spending together anyways, and transform them into quality time. And I will give you examples at the end of how to do that. Okay, I will give you a couple of examples what to do to transform it to a good quality time. Okay, now what to do during the quality time? Like what should I do to provide my kids with quality time, to make them see, like to make them know that I see them? Okay, these are the list of items. Show them unconditional love and acceptance, play and have fun, provide positive attention, show interest in their lives, do things together, carry meaning conversations, and ask for their opinion. We're going to talk about each one of them. So I hope time will allow us today to do that, inshallah. So let's talk about showing love and affection. You know, I will share with you an interesting story. One time I was doing a workshop, like it was the workshop series, and I was like talking about that, and I said, you know, we have to show love and acceptance, and we need to show our kids that, you know, we need to love our kids, and one of the parents who was frustrated probably said, oh, I thought we are going to talk about problems and how to solve problems. And I really empathize with her. We are burnt out because we don't know what to do with our kids and how to respond, and totally. So I told her, yeah, of course, we're going to be talking about that. But for us to be able to handle the problems responsively, we have to establish the relationship first. We have to, you know, to love them first. And she said, but don't we all love our kids? And absolutely, she's absolutely right. We all love our kids, but the problem is not, it's not about loving them. It's not about our intention, right? It's about their perception. It's about, are we showing them that we love them? Do we show them that we love them? Because a big national survey, I think I talked about it before, showed that 80% of adults felt that their parents did not love them when they were young. 80s, 80. And that cannot be true. Like I no way, no way 80% of parents don't love their kids, right? So that's the thing, is that yes, we love them, we care about them, we put ourselves into a lot of hardship for them, but sometimes we fail to show them love. And if they don't feel our love, then there's no point, because you will end up with kids who feel, oh, you don't love me, or you don't care about me, you don't understand me, so what's the point, right? So I still remember, and I still remember that frustrated parent. She carried the, you know, we became friends after that, but she became so like, but don't they, how do you want to show them? Isn't it enough to that their dad is working for them, I'm working for them, I'm cooking for them, I'm cleaning, I'm taking them places, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, I'm doing this? Isn't this enough to show them love? And subhanallah, yani, and I know a lot of parents think this way. No, it's not enough. That's the problem. Kids' brains do not work this way. Remember, kids' brain is not developed yet. They don't understand that. They don't make the connection, especially younger kids. Younger kids, according to Piaget's cognitive developmental theory, they say that kids have what we called concrete thinking. Concrete type of thinking means, like, for me to know that you love me, you have to show me love. You have to hug me, tell me, play with me, do something that directly tells me or tell me I love you. Those are the things that, you know, for they can understand. They do not have this abstract thinking, the kind of thinking where they can give meaning to things, or like they don't have the ability to see the reason behind the action. Oh, Baba is working to get money for us, so he loves us. Mama is doing all of that because she loves us. They're not gonna draw this conclusion naturally unless you tell them, I'm doing this because I love you, and here you go, you told them I love you, right? So that's the thing. Little kids, and this ability, the ability to think abstractly, developed usually around the age of adolescence. Again, just like everything else in the brain, it's a cumulative process, but they start thinking about meanings and ideas and reasoning behind actions and motives and this and that. It start being clear to them around the age of puberty, right? Like, or late childhood at least. But little kiddos do not understand that. They if you don't tell them I love you, if you don't play with them, if you don't hug them, if you don't nurture them, if you don't have fun, if you don't carry conversation, if you're not engaged in their life, to them you don't love them. And that's why I hear, subhanallah, a lot of kids and even a lot of adults who will say that my parents didn't love me, or they will tell me, the adults, they will say, now I know that they love me, but when I was young, I thought they didn't. Why is that? Because they developed the ability to understand that, oh, mom did all of that, she was harsh, and but it's because she loved me so much, she didn't want me to make mistakes, but it was her way of protecting me. It's wrong, but it's her way. So no, I know she loves me, but when? Now. So we don't want we don't want to wait until our kids are in their 20s or 30s to realize that we love them. Love is a social emotional need. It's what drives the safety. It's what drives the scene. It's needed. Okay. So so kids need to feel loved. They need you to tell them that they are loved. Okay. So it's important for developing secure attachment, after all, bonding, trust, preparing kids for, even it affects their relationships later in life. Okay. So how can we show our kids that we love them? What are some ways to show them that we love them? Some of the ways to show them is what research calls show delight in their existence. And I know it's I know it's hard to grasp, but I will try to simplify it as much as I can. What is joy, or what is delight? I'm sorry. Delight is feeling the joy and the pleasure in the company of someone. I feel happy by his existence, not because he's listening to me, not because he's doing the things I want, not because of any gain, not because of anything, just by the presence of that person. They found that delight is the most important quality. It's a critical quality, if I may say. It's a critical quality that parents need to show to their kids. Okay. You know, I still remember this kiddo who approached his mom and asked her this question. I was so proud of her. He told her, Mom, how come you're always so happy when you see me? Just by seeing him, her facial expressions, the tone of her voice, she might say something funny, she might welcome him with a hug or with a smile or with, right? There's always such a delight in just seeing him. So we can do that when they come back from school. This can be a way of showing love. Remember the frequent daily connection? Just the fact that when they come from school, rather than telling them the list of do's and not do to do's or to not do, you know, put your shoes in the shoe rack, put your backpack here. Don't worry, we're gonna develop a routine for that. We're gonna say it, but before you even say that or do that, show that delight. So show that this happiness. That's a valuable quality connection time. It's what? Few seconds. It's literally a few seconds. And just showing him that you're happy because you saw him. Like, hey, my son is back. Yay. You know, right? Maybe you can add like a couple of I missed you or something, whatever. But you don't even need to do that. So showing delight in their existence. Again, not because they did anything. It's just because of them. You see them and you feel the happiness, the joy, the pleasure. Okay? Genuine pleasure. This makes them feel like validated, makes them feel seen, it makes them feel important, it makes them feel, you know, and over time, it develops this sense of resilience, believe it or not. Resilience. Okay, so what else can we do to show love? This is the to-do, to make it more tangible. I can tell you, go show your kids love. And some parents, unfortunately, believe it or not, and like kind of my heart aches when I some parents will tell me that. It's just, you know, how do I show them that? I've never got this. And for those parents, their brain is not wired for that. They don't know how to do it. They have to fake it even sometimes. They didn't get that kind of attachment and that kind of relationship. That's why sometimes they find it very hard to give it. And they start by doing baby steps and scheduling it even and pushing themselves sometimes to do things and trying to attune and all of that until they get it, right? Saying simply, I love you. Texting them if they're older, right? Telling them, Habibi, sweetie, love, like Jan, Janu, whatever language you speak, right? Physical contact, right? Physical contact is important, like hugging, like cuddling, like holding hands, kissing, patting, tickling. Again, with some of these, you have to be careful. You have to check the kids' comfort. Respect their personal space and comfort. Some kids, especially with hugging and tickling, some kids, they don't like it. Then do alternatives. Don't do it. The whole point is to connect, not to nag, not to be annoying, right? So wiping on their heads or just doing this like after salah or doing this, or all of this, these are acts of showing love. Okay. Physical proximity is one of the things that are really studied, and it's they found that having physical touch doesn't have to be hugging. It can be just holding hands, sitting next to each other, sitting on your lap, laying next to each other in bed, anything that has physical proximity, okay, is really needed to nurture this connection. Subhanallah. And some of the psychologists will tell you this: we people need 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 hugs for maintenance, and 12 hugs for growth. Like, people need to be hugged, right? What about hugging? Why is hugging that important? It doesn't have to be hugging again. If kids are not comfortable with that, some kids do not like the hugging in specific. So you can do any other kind of physical contact that they like, that makes them feel comfortable, right? But they found that hugging or physical proximity, what does it do? It kind of secretes like a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is a chemical that creates this sense of happiness. Sometimes they call it the love or the cuddle hormone, right? Or the happy hormone. It makes people feel connected, feel happy. Okay, not only that, but they found that this physical proximity also decreases the stress hormones, the cortisol and adrenaline. They decrease them, subhanallah, just by hugging or just by holding hands or just by being next to each other. Just this physical proximity causes us to secrete those hormones. I'm not joking, I'm not kidding. Okay, so they also found something really interesting, which goes against a lot of the fears that we have, is like the more you hug kids and babies and have this physical proximity, not necessarily hugging again, right? The more affectionate you are, the more you show them this love, the more resilient and less anxious as adult. Subhanallah. Some people say, oh, but this will spoil kids. Love does not spoil kids. I will tell you what spoils kids in a while. All what you're doing is you're showing them love. You're not permissive. You're not telling them, do whatever. I don't care about you. Oh, go take the chocolate, all the chocolate that you want, or go and hit the kids at school. You're not doing that. All what you're doing is showing them love. Love is a need. It's a need. They need that, right? Let's look at breastfeeding. Breastfeeding, like they found for quite some time, there was a movement against breastfeeding babies, right? And it's like, infection, this, that, bottle feeding is better. But then what? They went back to breastfeeding. Breastfeeding provide the kids with so many different, of course, if you can, right? So many different physical and emotional benefits, right? The skin to skin contact, the tone of voice that the mom has, the eye contact, right? All of that, this is physical contact, subhanallah. So it creates this connectivity, it creates this love and bonding. Even they advise moms who cannot like breastfeed, even if they're bottle feeding, what they advise them to sit in the same position, to still have skin to skin contact, to still have eye contact. They tell them, do the same kind of the same position and the same way you breastfeed. Even if you cannot breastfeed, just and you're going to give them the bottle, that's okay, but do the same. Why? Because that physical and emotional proximity does miracles, subhanallah, right? So that's what they're finding now, is like, and that's what they are promoting. Not only that, but they did like a lot of research in institution and orphanages where kids are, they don't have their parents, of course, so they're living in orphanages and institutions. And they did a lot of research on those who, in the past, they used to just feed the kid, change the diaper, put them back in bed. Like they're not carrying, they're not cuddling, they're not showing affection, they're not, they're not rocking them. There's no warmth in the relationship. They don't show affection. It's just eat, feed, change, sleep. What they found is that kids who do not get the affection, they do not get this kind of bonding, this kind of loving and cuddling and nurture, they are prone to the whole textbook of psychiatric illnesses, the textbook, literally, of everything. They're prone to mental illness. Not only that, but in some studies, they even found worse than that. They found that kids who are not getting this emotional warmth, like at all, who are being treated in these orphanages like that, they die. They literally die. And when they explored and investigated more, they found that they die from malnutrition, but they feed them. They stopped feeding. And they felt that they found that these kids, because they're not getting this connection, they're not getting this belonging, they're not getting this nurture, they stopped feeding. They started not eating, and they ended up malnourished, and then they died. And that's why, since the results of this research, it happened extensively in Europe at the time, they changed the rules and regulations for the orphanages. Not only that, but even for the NICUs, for the neonatal intensive care. Before, they used to put the newborn, and they will say, oh, because of infection and this and that, moms are not allowed to go carry anything, right? They found kids are affected. Now see what they do. Mom has to go and see him as much as she can, carry the baby, nurture, cuddle. Depends, of course, on the situation. But even if the mom cannot, the nurses and the people there, they have to take the kids out. They have to do the physical proximity. They have to do that, because this is social emotional needs. For quite some time, they convinced people that all what babies need is to feed and change diapers and just let them cry it out. Totally false. Kids need connection. It's a social emotional need, just like they need milk. Even more, they stopped feeding milk because they don't have the connection. Okay, so give that to your kids. Give that to your kids. And I want to add, give that as much as you can, as long as we're not talking about actions or permissiveness. We're talking about love. We're talking about connection. We're talking about giving them this. Okay, if the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have so many stories. One of them was I think a Sahabi by the name what was his name? Al-Aqra ibn Habis, I guess. He saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was kissing Al-Hasan, Sayyidina Al-Hasan ibn Ali radiallahu anh, and he told him, I have 10 kids and I never kissed one of them. And the Prophet ﷺ looked at him and said, whoever is not merciful to others will not be treated mercifully. This was reported in Bukhari. So subhanallah, so this is not even in our deen, because sometimes people would want you to believe that, oh, for you to be a Muslim, you have to be kind of portion. No, right? And the other Bedouin who came and told the Prophet, oh, you kiss your boys, he was just denying it. You kiss your boys, Like, I cannot, like, we do not kiss them. We do not kiss boys. We do not kiss them. And the Prophet again said, I cannot put mercy in your heart after Allah has taken it away from it. And here I want to whisper to dads, because I know sometimes in certain cultures, it's tied to, oh, men shouldn't show this kind of affection because it's kind of not like masculine or whatever. Listen, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did that. He taught that. So who would be like a better teacher than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So we need to do that. This is important. This is innate. This is not just, do it or don't do it. Now, this is a list of ways to show love, just to enumerate, to play with them, to be humorous and funny, have this tone of excitement when you see them, say that you miss them, smile to them, sing with them, laugh with them, appreciate them, listen to them, give them nice nicknames, surprise them, do something that they like every now and then. All of these are ways to show kids that you love them. Okay, they need to see that. Okay, now we need to talk about love. Love and acceptance should be unconditional. They are not tied to them doing what you want or not doing what you want. This is something else. This is behavior. You need to work on it. You need to teach them. You need to set limits. You need to do all of that. That's something else. I'm talking about showing love. And never tie love of your kids to actions. So don't use it like to manipulate your kids. Don't say, oh, I will love you if you do this. I will love you if you study. I will love you if you memorize the Quran. I will not love you if you don't bring this from that. Or if you say this to that person. Do not use love. This is called abuse. Don't tie your love to any conditions, because it's unconditioned. Okay? And do not threaten with it. This is dangerous, by the way. These things are dangerous because kids will believe. Remember, kids do not have abstract thinking. So when you tell them, especially the younger they are, if you tell them, I will not love you, if in their mind, it's true, you're not going to love them if whatever. So they will believe it. And in their brain, it can initiate a core belief that I'm not loved. My parents don't love me. You don't want to mess up with these things, trust me, because that's how the brain is wired. Okay, so please don't use it. So but even don't use it when they grow older, right? Even if they understand. Again, that's offensive. Don't use it. It's as if your spouse is telling you, I'm not gonna love you if you don't do mulukhiyya, or if you don't clean my room, or whatever, clean my closet, something like that. We shouldn't be using love this way. Okay. Now going back to the whole spoiling, because this is important. And here I will tell you what Dr. Gabor Mate said and Neufeld in their book. Again, no, actually, this is Dr. Gabor, not Neufeld. This is not in the book. This is actually a lecture of his. He said when he was asked that, do you spoil kids when you show love? And he said, spoiling something is when spoil something is when you do not give it what it needs, when you deny it what it needs. You spoil it when you do not give them love. You spoil them. Or when you give them too much of something that they don't need. Like, meaning, like, you give them, you want this? Okay, take it. You want chocolate? Okay. You want a phone? Okay. You want, right? Giving them too much. It's not a need, it's a want. So when you give them their needs, their social emotional needs, and here we have to differentiate between needs and wants. Needs, I'm talking about social emotional needs. I'm talking about they need to feel loved. Regarding I want a phone, I want to play, these are wants. And you have to put rules and regulations for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that can spoil them in a different way. But loving them, as in nurturing them, can never spoil kids. Actually, I just shared with you the results that the kids who are like more cuddled and more and shown more affection are more resilient than those who even got normal cuddling and normal affection, right? So actually they're promoting for more love and affection. And remember, again, it's not about how much you love them. It's about if they feel this love. If they don't feel your love, then there's no point. Play and have fun, okay? We need to play. That's the second thing that you can do to show them that you love them, okay? Play. At any age, you can play with your baby, and you can play with your 15 years old, and you can play with your 20 and 30 and 50 years old. I don't know by 50 how you're going to play, but there must be a way to play. So anyways, not you in your 50, your kid in their 50s. So anyways, so the thing is, play with them, joke, have fun whenever it's possible. Let me just say something. Parents see play as it's, you know, it's a privilege, or it's something that, you know, like it's an extra thing, it's a luxury. No, playing is an essential, it's a need. Again, it's essential for kids to play. This is how kids learn. This is how their brain develops. When kids open the kitchen cabinet and go inside and play with the, you know, with the pans and just do the noise, to you they're annoying and they're playing, this is silly, this is nonsense. To them, this is learning. They're learning the sizes, they're learning the sounds, they're learning when they go inside, they can hit the upper level of the cabinet, and so on and so forth. They're learning so much thing. And by the way, this is the way kids learn. Kids learn through play. And if we are a good society, and if someone who really understands would put the educational system, they would never put it the way that it is now. They will make learning, yes, they need to learn. You can teach them everything. You can teach them science and math and this and that, but through play, through interaction, because that's how their brain works. Kids are not created to learn sitting on a desk and writing with a pen. That's not supposed to be the right way. So let them play, and play with them. Kids need both, to play by themselves and to play with you. Interactive play and solitary, or they need to play by themselves as well. So give them time to play and also play with them, right? Free play and structured play. Sometimes you play just anything that doesn't have rules, or sometimes you play things that have rules. All of these are different kinds of play that they need. And this is one great way of showing them that you love them, giving them the social emotional needs, and at the same time growing their brains and growing skills, giving them, you know, social skills, physical development, creativity, imagination. It's stress relief, it's learning, so many different things in what we call play. Like you tell them, oh, the kids are playing. Oh, wow. If I would say it correctly, I would say the kids are learning, the kids are developing. Okay. Subhanallah. The third thing that you can do to show them that you love them is to provide positive attention. What is providing positive attention? How can you do that? It's by, you know, by all the list. I'm trying to put this list for to give you like tangible strategies. By a smile, by a wink, by a nod, by saying a joke, by, you know, you're going, they're walking, maybe going to the fridge to get water. Don't let this go without a few seconds of connection. If your kids are just walking in the house or the apartment, just hey, what's up? How is it going? Use your own language, your own way. Like if you're humorous, use humor. It's great. If you're more serious, just ask them, how is it going? Do you want a sandwich? Do you want some juice? What are you doing next? Tell them what you are doing next. Anything that leads to connection. Greet them warmly, show them happiness, like attend their events. Don't skip kids' events. Of course, if there's a situation, of course. But generally speaking, this is how to show them that you care, go to their games, go to their recitals, their activities, post their artwork, like this picture, whatever they're doing, just post it on the fridge. Make them feel seen. Remember, we want them to feel seen. You want to show them that you see them. Okay, no matter, maybe the art piece or the whatever they did is to you is so like, what is that? For your 5 years old, wow, that's fantastic, right? You can describe it for their, you have to see it from like based on their ability, not based on, you know, like it's not like you're going to an art museum. So post their work and projects and achievements, and surprise them in their rooms and tell them, you know, what are you doing? You know, who called, crack a joke, whatever it is, your own style. But do that attention, give them that positive attention as much as you can. That's why we're saying frequent daily connection. It can be few seconds. Okay. What else can you do? Show interest in their life. Do things together. See what they like and talk to them about it. Okay. Engage in conversation about topics that they like. Get them to know their hobbies, what they, you know, and share it with them. Like whatever it is. Remember their important events. That's important. When you remember, oh, mama, you still remember? Yeah, of course, I remember. Okay, know them from know their goals, know their vision in life, know their strength, know their worries, their hopes, their desires. We need to know all of that and show them that we know, and tie it with our daily interactions. Like I went, like you would get them something that they like, and said, oh mama, I got it just for you, or today I cooked the, you know, the meal that you love. uh, Things like that shows love. Like it shows them that they are seen. Oh mama, today, tomorrow you're choosing the menu, and next day maybe your brother, and then baba will have a day. Like show everyone that you love them, right? Do things together. Like if they, as you see, if they like to cook together. I know it can be messy, just take your precautions, but do it. These are memories. These are valuable memories. When they ask adults, even if you ask yourselves now as you're sitting, if I tell you what was the like most like fun time that you spent in your childhood, you will always remember your trips together, when you used to mess up in the kitchen, like something in the kitchen, or prepare something together, or do an activity together. That's what you will remember. You're not going to remember that when they kind of told you to study math to get like a high score in ACT. Yes, in your mind, you know, they care about you, but the one that will give you the pleasure, the one that will give you the satisfaction, will be those memories that we create when we do such things together. Some people, unfortunately, see these things as, you know, not important or silly. No, they are not. They are not. Those are the things that make us connect, make us belong, give us this sense of belonging, right? And it's a need. What else can we do? Carry meaning conversation. Talk about things that they care about. Okay. Like what is it that they care about, and what is it that they like, and talk about it. You know, sometimes I would find some parents who, when I tell them that, they say, but I don't know what to talk about. I don't know. It's like, what does your kid like? uh, I'm not sure. Okay, go now. It's okay. Even if you don't know, no blaming, no shaming. Fine. Go now and see what he likes. If he likes sports, start talking about sports. Let him teach you. Even if you don't like sports, let him teach you. He's going to be your teacher. If he like dogs, we're talking about dogs. If he like dinosaurs, we're talking about dinosaurs. If he's a teenager and he wants to talk about, like, you know, like goals in life, talk about goals in life, talk about stories, share your stories, play games together. Some older kids, if you didn't initiate this conversation since childhood, sometimes they find it weird to talk about these things. So it can be easier to engage in such conversations if you are doing something together, like maybe go and like play a game together or walk in the neighborhood. Like while you're doing something, you can start engaging in a conversation. And now for those who don't know, okay, what should we talk about? I don't know what to talk about. One, now there are bazillion things out there that will help parents to, like, you can buy like online activity kit, or like conversation starters, or there's a lot of that, like of those that can help you initiate a conversation or how to carry a conversation with your kids. You can use these if you need to. Hold family meetings. Family meetings, I'm going to be talking about it more in S number 5, when we talk about empowering kids. Actually, it goes like across the board. It can belong to every single S, but especially that S, to empower them. Do family meetings, and inshallah, I hope I will have the time to talk about this in details. Okay. This is this is how you can convert minutes to memories. This is how to change. Remember, we said change your. I give you now the few tips that we talked about. These are the ways to show them that you love them. Now, use these tactics in the already time that you're spending with your kids. So how to change morning time into a connection time, rather than, oh, yalla, wake up, you're late, school bus is coming, or I'm gonna leave you and go, I don't have time for this, you're so lazy, why did you sleep? If this is your morning time, for Allah's sake, like, may Allah help us, because this is a very harsh way to start the morning. If you feel like your kid stays late or whatever, adjust that. Try to adjust that. See what the reason is. If you're running tight in the morning, then wake up early. Let them wake up 5-10 minutes early, whatever it takes. But do not let those time that you spend together be stressful. Do not actually, I want you to connect, not to even neutral. We don't want this time to be neutral. We want it to be connection time, just like Salah, right? So we want it to be, turn it into positive time. Wake them a little bit earlier, and then wake them with a cuddle, or with a song, or with a hug, or with like a rubbing their back, or a kiss, or whatever they like. Tickle their feet if they like tickling, right? Make a dua in the morning for them. Share, like, you can wake them up while saying the morning dua. There are so many ways you can switch, transform that time from even a normal time or a nagging time into quality time. So this way you don't need to add more time into your daily connections. It's already there. Just use it. Car rides, rather than everyone's on their screen and you're on your phone, just make it, share your interest, tell a story, talk about your day, let them talk about their days, listen to something together and interact, like anything that, say the du'as together, do whatever. Try to do something to change that time from a time to a connection time, to a belonging time. So convert those minutes into memories. That's what they will remember. I assure you, that's what they remember, right? Again, meal times, bedtime, you name it. You can change all these times from just regular times into connection times. Okay. So, and this way you're not adding more time to your, you don't need more time to connect. You already have those times. Of course, if you don't spend a lot of time, try to figure out some time to spend with the kids. Because we said, remember, we need also some like quantity in addition to the quality. Okay. These are a few tips that I want to share with you, actually, that will kind of help you stay connected as a family. Okay. Basically, it will link your hearts. Try as much as you can to keep them in the area where you are. The whole idea of every kid is going to their room, locking themselves into their room, creates disconnection. So as much as you can, if you can make the study station, like studying station and homework station, like if you have a 2-floor house or something like that, make the station down where you are, or up if you're up, whatever, wherever you are or the family is. Try as much as possible to make like so that you can see them going and coming, going to the toilet and going to the kitchen and moving around and chatting around. All of this will create that connection. Okay. Try to engage into group activity, like together. Make like a daily or a weekly group activity where all of you do something together. When okay, you can play, like make the games or TV. Of course, they shouldn't be in their bedrooms anyway, but not even in the playroom upstairs, because this means that whenever they need some entertainment that is guided and supervised, they have to stay away from you. Make it downstairs where you are, right? In the living area. So only one TV in the living. You can play here. You can have two stations or two areas, like one for the games and TV if they want to watch something, but they are around. The point, let me tell you the point. The point is this whole isolation into islands, everyone is in his room, is not helping the connection. Is not, this style of life is not helping the connection. And I'm not saying don't do it at all. I'm just saying as much as you can, make all of these as much as it like in the area where you are. This first will make you always connected. You will have those frequently connections without, because you're not going to go upstairs and check on them. How many times are you going to do that? But if they are there, right, and you're sitting and they're in the living room or they are in the office next to you, that it's very easy for you to go check. They will be moving, going to the restroom, you will see them, and so on and so forth. So that proximity will give you opportunities to connect and to talk more and to interact more and to socialize more, which is needed. Okay. And also don't forget about the family. Do regular family meetings. It's really important. It's really needed. One more tip that I advise every single parent to do is the one-on-one special time. Listen, kids need your attention. Remember, this is part of their need. And when we have more than one kid, we're busy, right? This one, I have to take him to activities. This one is hungry. This one, I need to do this. I need to do that. But try as much as possible to take time to spend, even if it's gonna be like once a week, to do special time. Just even once. Of course, the little ones, they need, again, I will exclude the younger ones from that, because the younger ones, they require a lot of time. Remember, we said that the quantity is important for younger kids. They want you to be around most of the time. But as they grow older, this time, and I would say school age and above, okay, you can do, if you can do it every day, great. If you can do it twice a week, great. Just for 10-20 minutes, okay? For teens, for children 6 to 12, 30 minutes a week, okay. If it's twice a week, it's even better. For teens, once a week, not once a month, once a week for 30 minutes to an hour is great. Just one-on-one. That's the point. It's one-on-one time. Like one parent, one kid. No one else is there. No screens are there. No phones are there. Just you and me interacting socially, doing something fun. Not talking, like this is not your one-to-one on one chatting or anything. This is playtime. I'm talking about special playtime. We're playing. We're just having fun. Of course, when they're older, it can change. It can be tweaked a little bit, right? We can take walks together. We can, chat about things, or go walking in the mall or in the neighborhood, whatever the preference is. But so it can take that kind of structure. But generally speaking, it's supposed to be a playtime. For the younger ones, play like you're a child. Okay? No interruptions, no distractions, one-on-one. Let the dad take the other kids, or you can alternate. Everyone will take the kid at the same time, but dad is with this kid and mom is with that, and then you can switch. Try to figure it out as much as you can. Okay? This is like miraculous time, because you're giving your full attention, your heart, your mind, your soul, everything to that kid for that period of time. And the kid during this time gets everything, gets nurtured, gets the 6 S's, by everything during this time. That's why this time is usually loved by the kids. But There are certain tips for that. So how to start? You can start by just saying, depends on the kid's age. If it's a teenager and you never did this before, you can just wait until they're doing something and then join them and engage and laugh and have fun, and then tell them, what about if we do this once a week? I enjoyed this very much. It made me feel connected. I was so happy. So why don't we do it? And you can do it even with younger kids the same way. But for younger kids, it's easier to say, I heard about this and I think it's really so much fun. So I want to do it with you once a week. We can meet and have fun together, do something really fun. Okay. But if you're doing that, you have to schedule it and you have to treat it like your most important meeting ever. Don't cancel it unless there is an emergency, and it's not canceled, it's rescheduled. So if you agree on it, let's say Friday after Salatul Jum'ah, for example, is our time for 30 minutes, then it is Friday after Salatul Jum'ah. We're not, changing that unless there is like extreme situations or change in, like we're traveling or something. Okay, we can change it at that time and reschedule it. So the thing is, this is going to be our time together. One parent, one kid. Okay, it's extremely important. By the way, they use this kind of special time in therapy for kids who have behavior problems. So when kids have behavior problems, they advise parents to do this special playtime. I will advise you to go online and read more about it to just get the hang of it, like know how to do it. Although I'm going to give you some tips, right? So they use it as therapeutic because it strengthens the connection. It gives the kids so much nurture. If you do it right, I have to say that. Okay, what should we do? We should let the kids choose. This is a child choose, lead, and direct the activity. He's the one. Okay, unless there's an activity that you cannot do, you can say, I don't know how to do it, or I don't like this. Can you please choose something else? Games and activities that foster social interaction. You need something that we're playing socially. It's not like screens. Screens should not be part of this. You can play games together on a screen, but that's something else. That's another time. That's not this time. This time focuses more on, I'm so attentive to you. I'm giving you my positive attention. I'm giving you my heart, my mind. I'm here physically, emotionally, and like mentally for you. So stay away from screens. The only exception for that, if is with teens, if this is the only way to get them to agree, especially teen boys, because they are way into gaming. So maybe this can be a good start, is like to play together some video games, and then after that, you can, when you two enjoy it, maybe one time you can say, oh, we can go and play basketball outside, or we can go hike, or we can walk in the neighborhood, whatever suits your, their preference. Again, it has to be something like meaningful to them. You have to play with these kids as if you are a kid their own age. That's the trick. You're not a dad and you're, play. Oh, yalla, finish. No. If you're going to do that, don't do it. So you have to enjoy it. Even at the beginning, I tell you, I know some kids, some parents didn't get that in their childhood. So it doesn't come natural. I know sometimes we have to push ourselves to get it, but once you push yourself and you enjoy it, believe me, you are going to be looking for it, because you want to have some fun and laugh like good old days. What not to do is more important actually during this time. Don't use this time as an incentive or a punishment. Don't use it as like, you were so undisciplined today, I'm not going to do our special time. Don't do that. Don't. This is building relationships. So give them whatever, deal with the misbehavior the way you want it to go. Like if there's a consequence, if you're going to sit and problem solve and figure out solution, do that. But this is, think of it like a meal, right? Like the dinner. So if the kid misbehave in the morning, he will still eat dinner, right? And you will figure out the problem on the side. Same. This is a need as well. Just like his body needs food, his soul, his brain needs this connection. Okay, so don't use it like that. No distractions or interruptions. So don't say, okay, I'm gonna do it with my kid, but I have a baby, so I will keep the baby next to me. Doesn't work. Try to figure out when the baby is sleeping, or if Baba takes him, or grandma, or a friend, inshallah, you can figure out something, because you don't need to be distracted. You don't want to be engaged with your like 10 years old playing a game and he's so happy, and then all of a sudden you have to leave him because the baby cried. So just take precautions, okay? Avoid any criticism or disapproval. Avoid, you don't have to set rules for that time. Meaning, like for games, like you can make it free play, like no structure. You can play anything, right? We don't have to play by the rules for certain games. Like make it fun. The point is to make it fun and enjoyable. It's not about who won the game and who. I know a parent who was playing when she first started doing that, and she started telling her kid, "Oh, you're such a cheater! You cheated." So, anyways, so at the beginning, just say, "We're gonna just play for fun." Okay, or if they're playing like a game like a soccer or whatever, and the kids won or something, and then parents get crazy. No, you didn't. It doesn't. This goal, it doesn't count. We're supposedly playing, so it's okay. Don't boss them around. Don't control the game. This is just some time to play and have fun and enjoy each other company and connect together. Okay, so don't overdo it, and don't just be tense. Let the 5 years old in you come out. If your kid is 5, but if your kid is 10, let the 10 years old come out. Okay, benefits. Absolutely. It strengthens bonds, as we said, it fosters a good relationship, child self-esteem, decreases anxiety and stress, and minimizes misbehavior. That's why I'm telling you, they use it in therapy sessions, right? They advise parents, actually, kids who have like behavior challenges, they advise parents to do it every day for 20 or 30 minutes, because it does help a lot if it's done correctly. I would definitely advise you to go online, read more about it so you do it right, because you don't want to do it wrong and then the kid will have a reaction and say, no, I don't want to play with you. You don't want this to happen. So read about it more. And alhamdulillah, I think I'm done. Jazakumullah khair. This was supposed to be the rest of the session, but since we started late, so I'm not continuing. I will stop here. Reference and resources. These are the QR codes if you want to join the website, WhatsApp, Instagram, and YouTube. And جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.